Um, let's wait for 1 or 2 more minutes to let more students join us. And while we're waiting, feel free to say hi and introduce yourself in the chat box so you can let our SAP guests get to know you a little bit. And a quick announcement that for today's events, we'll start with like 20 minutes presentation from SAP's guest speakers, and then followed by a 10 minutes Q&A part. And throughout the whole hour conversation, you're welcome to share your questions in the chat box. And then our event coordinator, Alaska, can either read the questions for you, or you can unmute yourself to ask questions directly. And then after the Q&A, we'll similarly to what we did before, we'll do breakout rooms, and you can further interact with SAP guests in small groups. Welcome, Alex. Okay, I think majority of us are here. Let's go ahead to get it started. Welcome to Comm November 1st, Thursday with SAP. I am Liao Zhao, the head of outreach at Comm. As many of you may know, that SAP is the market leader in enterprise application software, and we have a good number of Comm alumni who started their career at SAP after they graduate from Comm. And today we have one of our panelists, Catherine, came in, and she is a Comm alum from cohort 17 and now works at SAP as a content lead. Catherine, how about I will let you take it over from here to introduce yourself and the rest of the panel. There you go.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. And hi, I think I saw Tong Tong on here. She's also a fellow alumni from my cohort, and she left us to another organization. Good for her, but we're still holding it against you a little bit. But I just want to say I can't speak highly enough about this program and how it really prepared me to do well at SAP and SAP Concur. I finished my master's while working full-time at a director level for 7 years in tourism and hospitality and in marketing. And I also worked in other areas at a director level and junior levels, but for 12 years in B2C types of marketing, and really was ready to make a change into B2B. And while working full-time and having 2 small children and a very supportive husband, earned my master's degree and was able to shift to a totally different type of marketing. And the communications and leadership program and network and community, really it was a total reason why I was able to make that shift. One of the things that I started at Concur in April of 2020 amidst COVID, which was fun, and really was able, the Comm Lead program paired with my work experience really allowed me to be really successful, to look at problems and how to solve them, like through as a storyteller, but also like with the right tactic at the right time, rather than just jumping in and focusing on telling a story through one channel in particular. And the Comm Lead program really helped us to be able to see the big picture as well as to be experts in certain areas, or try to train ourselves to learn how to become leaders in that space. One of my favorite projects that Kelly and I in particular worked on was launching a podcast, because I got to study audio storytelling, and a lot of the other supporting elements worked well with that. And it's just also, it's a really great program, and you please know that you are investing in the right time and space. But it's still like not this easy direct path to get the job. And that's always an evolution, but this is a really great place to work. I now moved over to the human experience team doing marketing as well. Also a really great challenge just to try something new and different. And I'm really enjoying that as well. And I'm certain that the network and the community that I have through Comm, but also through with my colleagues here at Concur from Concur, helped me to be successful in this new part of SAP. So I just want to head off to Kelly. She was just really a wonderful person to collaborate on the Concur side. But also just to say that SAP has a lot of different organizations and companies inside of that. And Concur is just one of the very special few of those inside that.
Thanks, Catherine. Hey, everyone, I'm Kelly. I'm not a graduate of this program, although the more interactions I have with actual students and graduates of this program, the more that I think with one small part of my brain that it might be fun to go back to school. And then I think, no, you already have a master's, don't do that. But I've had the pleasure of working with a few different people who've been who've come through this program, and it's a fantastic program. And at least based on the people that that I've met that come through it. You know, I love the ability to come and talk to you all and talk about what we do and potentially ways that we can work together. And I think that SAP and SAP Concur, because I work specifically for SAP Concur, are really exciting places to work right now. This slide is our motto. You know, we help the world run better and improve people's lives. And it really is something that we think about a lot. What does it mean for our customer, for our prospect, and for our existing customers to use SAP or to use SAP Concur technology? And how can we really do work that has an impact on those people? So yeah, excited to be here.
Okay, so we want to hand it off to Luke now, I believe. Is that right, Liao? Okay, so Luke is able to talk about what actual recruiting and employee experience here. So happy to have him join this discussion and give those insights.
Absolutely. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for having me today. My name is Luke Kortheis. I manage the university recruiting function here at SAP within the Americas, so all the way from the tip top of Canada all the way down to Argentina. There's been a lot of chatter going on with Tong Tong. I actually hired Tong Tong several years ago, so glad that she was able to join today, and hopefully she can be a little bit of a testament to what we do at SAP Concur and SAP and how great of a place this is to work. Unfortunately, I am not part of this program. I actually graduated from the forbidden place across the mountain, Washington State University. I have a degree in criminal justice, and I've been in recruiting for about 11 years. So I'm excited to speak with you more today and get to know each and every one of you.
Awesome, thank you, Luke. Catherine, do you want to go ahead to do like a short introduction about SAP and run your PowerPoint? Yeah,
sure.
Perfect.
Sorry about that. So just really high level here there. This is kind of, you can see on the screen the number of employees that we have. Globally, we are a global organization. We are headquartered in Waldorf. So we're a global company. I'm on a global team. Not everybody is on a global team, but we are continuing to try to grow our cloud users and our customer base, as all of us are. These are some of the things that we talk about as retention. When you jump into lifecycle marketing in particular, how do you retain your customers is definitely one of the goals. Lots of women in leadership is a great opportunity and really a priority for us, as well as creating a really safe and equitable workspace. Here is our panel. You've already gotten to meet Kelly and Luke, but Michelle is also going to join us, and I'll just give her a moment to introduce herself. She's really important.
Sure. Thanks, Catherine. And thank you all for joining. I am a UW grad as well, so welcome to the forum, and we look forward to having breakout sessions with you. My focus at Concur is focused on thought leadership and integrated marketing, specifically corporate campaigns. So looking forward to talking further with you about that.
Okay, so now Luke, thank you, Michelle. Why don't I let you tell me when to switch? How about that?
Sounds great. So a little bit that I want to talk about today is just what we have in regards to internships. I'll dabble a little bit within our full-time roles at SAP as well. But what we do have is called the SAP Internship Experience Program. So you can actually go to the next slide, Catherine. SAP Internship Experience Program was actually started back in 2015 at our SAP Concur office right across the lake over in Bellevue, Washington. That year, we actually had I was the only recruiter, and we had 106 interns for the entire Bellevue office, and it was a phenomenal program. But as you can see, it has definitely grown over the years. Right now, we have 22 different countries that support the Internship Experience Program. We call it SAP IXP for short. Close to about 2,000 interns every year, and we have always been recognized with several awards and recognitions just for the program itself. Our main goal within the Internship Experience Program is to build the next generation of workforce here at SAP. There is no better way to start in improving our products, innovating, and really taking ourselves to the next level when it comes to the early talents and interns that we can bring into our organization. You know, the main goal is to really give interns a space to be themselves, create their own experience, and really drive their own purpose at SAP. We actually, historically speaking, we do convert about 50% of our interns, 40 to 50% of our full-time eligible interns into full-time roles so that they can continue their experience here with us at SAP. So what do we look for when it comes to the interns that we do hire into SAP? We're really looking for individuals that have initiative, somebody that's self-driven, able to kind of go after the ideas that they might have in their own mind and really bring those to life, and really kind of those self-starters, if you will. We're also looking for individuals that have, strong perseverance. Building a little resilience, I think, is good in any personal life, but it's also great in the professional landscape to have some resilience to different ideas, different prospects, different processes, different strategies, and being able to shine to light the resilience and perseverance that you might have in bringing your specific ideas to life as well. We're also looking for innovative mindsets. There is no better talent than the early talents that are in universities right now, at the forefront of technology, forefront of new products, forefront of new processes, ways of doing things. I can tell you one thing that I've noticed in the last 8 years that I've been at SAP, the growth that I've seen our interns bringing into even our more senior engineers, our senior marketing team, our senior sales individuals has been very, very eye-opening. So those that can bring the innovative mindset is highly sought after at SAP. Now, lastly, I would say is, what is your X factor? What makes you special? What makes you stand out from others within your class, within your friend group, within your cohorts that you might be engaging with? What is that special thing that makes you tick that you think can really set yourself apart from others is also very important to us as well. You can go to the next slide, Catherine. So what is our application process? This is typically going to vary very minutely between the different positions that you may apply to. Normally within the United States, we hire anywhere between 500 and 1,000 interns year over year. Now, obviously that's changed just with the effects of the pandemic. So it might be a little bit varied within that realm, but we hire across the board. Anything that we may hire for in a professional position at SAP, we are most likely going to be seeking interns to do those same roles. That can range from software development to communications to HR to sales. The list goes on and on. So it could vary very slightly depending on the roles that you may be interested in applying to. But step one is applying for the position that you do have an interest in. As we get through my presentation, I will have a link to where our positions are located, as well as a talent community that you can sign up for. But ultimately speaking, my recommendation is to apply to no more than 10 positions at any given time, and you will want to stay fairly focused in your application. If you are a marketing major and you're really focused in the marketing, comms, maybe the PR side of things, keep those applications in that realm. Our managers do have the ability to see other positions that you may have applied to, and therefore if you apply to 3 PR roles, 3 software development roles, kind of just throwing your resume out there, it's more than likely that a manager may pass on your application because of the variability that you may have applied to within SAP. The next step is being screened by a recruiter. Very simple process. We're just making sure that the skills more or less align with the position themselves. And then the next step would be an interview and assessment. We typically don't go over 3 different levels of interviews. All of them are virtual, but they can range in duration from half an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how technical the skill set or the role may be. If you need any special accommodations during your interviews or assessments, please do let the recruiter know so that they can help accommodate the needs that you may have in that particular space. Lastly, we make our offers, and that is when we announce that we would love to have you join us at SAP. And if you have any final questions, obviously we can answer them at that time and negotiate any of the variabilities within that role itself. Next slide, please, Catherine. Oh, one thing I did want to talk, sorry, we can stay on this slide. While we're staying here, if you feel like registering for a talent community, you may begin that process. It's totally fine. I can keep talking while you are doing so if you would like to sign up. What some of the different perks that we do have as joining an intern at SAP is it's more than just a name on a resume. You know, we do have different health and wellness benefits for those that do work over 30 hours in a week. We often have different perks depending on the office location that you may be at. And I think, you know, something that's pretty standard and common is there's different free offerings of beverages and sodas, as well as coffee in most of our office locations as well. I do believe in a few of our locations, we also offer a lunch stipend if you are selected to be part of our intern program. You are essentially treated as a full-time employee at SAP, same contracts as our full-time employees. You're really ingrained into our culture and the product that we do have at SAP. So what I have here on the screen is what's called our talent community. If you'd like to do the QR code and sign up, I do encourage it. What this will do is actually put you into a database saying that you did come to this event with us, and will allow us as recruiters and hiring managers to reach out to you to share different insights and different opportunities that could become available. There's different opportunities to sign up for positions that you may have interest in. So instead of coming back to our careers page to constantly monitor whether a position that you would be interested in applying to has been listed, this will actually allow the opportunity for you to be emailed when positions of your interest do become available. So it kind of, you know, reduces that back and forth. I also would encourage you to select that you're interested in being contacted by any recruiter company-wide. This will help all recruiters at SAP be able to get in contact with you instead of just the recruiters that are assigned to positions you might have applied for. This can really broaden your footprint at SAP and what we can consider you for. Next slide, please, Catherine. And lastly, here's where you can find the positions for the SAP Internship Experience Program, sap.com/careers/IXP. That is specifically for IXP. You can put in different locations, you can put in different functions or different types of roles you'd like it to apply to. If you're more interested in full-time opportunities at SAP, just forget the /IXP at the very end and that will bring you to our full-time roles. Ultimately speaking, we are still hiring. SAP has, like many other companies, has slowed down their hiring programs. That being said, SAP IXP is full steam ahead. We anticipate having close to 500 to 600 interns next year. Those roles will mostly be started to list around the January to February 2023 timeframe for our June 2023 start dates. That doesn't mean there aren't positions listed right now, but if you're looking for a summer internship, most of those roles will start to be listed in January, February, and March of next year. That is the end of my piece for this presentation. I will be in breakout rooms if anybody has specific questions that they'd like to ask me when we get to that part of the presentation. But thank you so much for hearing a little bit about the Internship Experience Program at SAP.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Liao, did you want to give us a little time to do some Q&A before we go into breakout rooms?
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you, Luke, and thank you, Catherine, for sharing. Yeah, let's take a look at the questions that we have in the chat box. I think Pritesh is asking, like, if, Luke, you could drop the link embedded in the QR code here, please. If there's a link, feel free to share that with our students, Luke, in the chats. Thank you. Any other questions from our students? you can also raise your hand and just unmute yourself. I know there is a lot to digest from the information. And just an FYI that after today's session, I will also send everyone the PowerPoint slides via Eventbrite page email, so you will get it. And also the recording. Oh, our recording will be available on our YouTube channel or on our website, so you won't lose it.
Yeah, so I got a direct message. Someone's asking, what do they expect from interns?
I can take that. I've hired a few interns. And then Michelle, I think you've had a few interns as well. So yeah. We really try to integrate interns into kind of our standard work and work processes and goals. You know, we really want you to be part of the team, and we want to give you projects that are actually real, tangible projects that will make a difference, right? These are projects that, you know, we need help on, and so we've brought in an intern specifically to help with that. Those projects, of course, those projects will vary depending on the team. When we think about the projects, one of my goals and the goals of people on my team is to give an intern a project that can be accomplished within the length of the internship, which is usually a couple of months, although sometimes they are extended, because we want you to have the feeling of ownership of sort of the beginning to the end of, you know, thinking through the strategy and the objectives of the project, as all the way through to the, hey, I delivered something tangible. And we also want to give interns the ability to have something meaty and real to put on your resume, right? To say, I accomplished this, here are the goals, here's what actually made a business difference, and here's how, you know, here's how my project and my part on my project had a real impact on the business. And then, you know, depending on what kinds of things we expect from you, oftentimes we expect you to like engage with stakeholders. So we give you a list of people to go out and talk to. We want you to, you know, come up with some sort of artifact, you know, write a report or deliver a presentation or come up with some sort of model or things like that. But there's a tangible work output as well.
And just to add on to what Kelly had shared, it's really giving the interns the visibility with as many stakeholders within Concur and SAP as we possibly can. So working in a global environment, sitting on various calls, meeting different regions and leads across the business. That's one benefit of an internship with a global company like SAP. Several of the intern projects that we've had on my teams in the past have been measurement from a QBR for PR at a global level. Or recently, our intern is working on a taxonomy and content tagging mechanism that marketing can approach and adopt in 2023. So really meaty topics that the business definitely gets value from when the internship is over, but the intern has had the ability to present it to an executive leadership team and work with the stakeholders to drive consensus.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add one more thing to that too, was one of the other things that's really cool that SAP does also provide for employees are fellowships. So I see Roshni on the call right now. She used to be an SAP employee, and you know, I got to manage a fellow, and very similar to those projects that Kelly or Michelle are talking about. Somebody can come from one area of the business and apply to internally go work in a different business area and do a project like they're describing. And that's a really unique opportunity that our organization just provides, and true to its kind of spirit of just creating opportunities and here at this organization, I think is really, really, really neat too. So yeah.
Thank you. So I'm gonna read one direct question that I had on the chat, and then we can go ahead with Gautam's question. But the question that I got in the chat is, will coming from a non-technical background be a disadvantage?
as the person that came from a non-technical background, I came from hospitality and tourism. No, I would actually say that my rich life experience before coming over to Concur and to SAP actually was really appreciated and valued. We definitely have people that go straight from college into technical roles right away, but I would say that my understanding of being an end-to-end marketer in a totally different industry really helped me to be helpful and provide unique perspectives and insights. It definitely was a lot, took a lot of learning a high, steep learning curve, but the Comm lead program helps you out with a little bit of that. But it is that, just like Luke said, you have to be a self-starter. You have to be willing to put in the work and train yourself to adapt to the needs. But that's a good life skill in general. So.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you. And I just saw that Luke answered to Sumiran's question, but is there anything else you want to add, Luke?
No, not particularly. I think the only thing that I will add is, yes, our biggest amount of interns join us throughout the summer because that's typically when students are not in school and they can work up to 40 hours a week. It's a great opportunity for our hiring managers to get a full summer's worth of work, not only to benefit them, but to benefit the student an intern that they're working with, so they can go back to university afterwards and say, look at all the skills that I learned while I'm here. Although we are in a program that's running year round, our summertime is the biggest. That being said, if you go to our careers page right now and see an opening, you can look at the job description. It will have the timelines for that internship specifically. Some are looking to have an individual start immediately. Others are looking to have them start in a few months. And actually, some of them might even be listed to have them start for this upcoming summer. So, we will hire interns on a rolling basis. And I think one thing else to point out is you don't need to work 40 hours a week if you're an intern and going to school. We really encourage our managers to limit that to at least 20, at maximum 20 hours a week, so that you can continue to school, as school should be the #1 priority. But that is something that you can take into consideration. We're not looking for you to work a 40-hour work week as an intern while going to school, because there's obviously other things within your own personal life that need to take precedence as well.
Sounds great. Thanks, Luke. Okay, next one is Gautam.
Yeah, hi everyone. I hope you can hear me okay.
It's a little low for me, but we can still see the subtitles, the transcript, so it's totally fine.
Yeah, my headphones are just being weird today. So anyway, my question, first of all, thank you so much for this information session. It's very helpful. And I'm very interested in the IXP program, the internship program. But I have about 4.5 years of experience. Bulk of it is actually happens to be with Oracle, which is one of SAP's staunchest rivals, I think, in the ERP space. And something that I observe with a lot of companies in the ERP space, especially when they're taking interns, is that they prefer that the interns don't have a lot of experience and actually pretty much are just, fresh out of school. But the thing is, I did my graduate program after a couple of years of experience. A lot of that was actually in a mix of things. It was in marketing, it was in content production, a little bit of design. But right now, especially with the classes I'm taking, the specialization I'm aiming for with the Comm lead program, I'm actually leaning towards UX design, but I don't have a lot of experience in that. So that's why I would like to gain that sort of experience with a program like the IXP program. So I was just wondering, would it make sense for me to apply? Would I be a good candidate for that? Just wanted to get a sense of that as someone with experience.
Yep, absolutely. So great question, Gautam. So the SAP internship experience program is geared towards undergrads. With that being said, we have about 60% of our intern population that's undergrad and about 40% of our population that's graduate level students. We are looking for those that might be changing the course of their trajectory and the career paths that they might want to take. So it's Catherine's raising her hand. It's not necessarily that you have to have that direct experience for the internship program. Like we've kind of alluded to, is we're much more looking at the intangibles, you know, your perseverance, your innovative mindset, your X factors, before we're really looking at the skill set. So yes, certain managers are going to have a specific requirement for the skill sets necessary, but we have the opportunity at SAP to hire anybody from a freshman all the way up through PhD. And so, and you know, take that into consideration that we are interested in your candidacy, even if it might be skill set not directly within the line of work that you'd like to do, but also for those like yourself that has several years of work experience before wanting to become an intern again.
Great. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Then we had a question asking about, does SAP sponsor H-1B visas for international students? And I saw your answer, Luke. Do you want to just maybe say it out loud?
Absolutely. So, you know, for those that might be an international student, you know, we do absolutely accept those that might need F1 visa sponsorship. When we will sponsor those with H1 that need H1B when the time does come. That is very dependent on the manager having budget for such a such a visa application. And I will say that most of our H1B applications do typically get reserved for those with a much more technical background than someone that might have a business background.
Okay, thank you. So that's everything we have on the chat so far. Oh, just another question. Oh no, just someone saying thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alaska. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, we just got one. It's, what is the interview process like for the interns?
I'll send the well, I think Catherine will send the deck out after after the presentation today, but the process is pretty standard when it comes to high level, but the intricacies of what your interviewees may ask might be a little bit different. Pretty standard is the application followed by a pre-screen, followed by 1 to 3 interviews, all virtual, ranging from 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on the team and the role and the location and that sort of thing. And then offers will come out after that. It's hard for me to go into a lot more detail unless Kelly, Catherine, or oh my goodness.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle, I can't see all the names on the top, my bad. If you have something that you would like to maybe share about your interview processes, I think that may be helpful, but it's a little bit hard for me to get into specifics just because there are so many different teams that have a little bit varied interview processes and questions.
And
But
as we
just an
transition to the
example.
breakout, Michelle, I was just say, like, as we transition to the breakout rooms, as someone that went through the interview process not that long ago, and I've also been on the interviewing side for other people, I'm happy to share my experiences too. So, and go ahead, Michelle, sorry.
Just to add on what Catherine and Luke were saying, typically we've had the interns meet members of my team and then stakeholders that we would work with. So for instance, looping with Kelly as well and a member of her team, just to give some perspective for both our team and the intern to make sure it was the right fit.
Yeah, our interviews, at least for us, tend to not be that technical because we don't have technical roles on our teams. So they're much more about, you know, what is your ability to think strategically? You know, how do you think about measuring the impact of things? And so going back to a previous question where, you know, do you need to be from like a technical background? No, we're not looking for that. We're looking more for your ability to be strategic and analytical, thoughtful, good communicator. You know, like Michelle said, you meet and engage with a lot of people across the organization, things like that. So the interviews are really designed to try and get at those sorts of skills.
And again, we can talk about this in the breakout rooms, but as someone that was in the Comm Lead program and studied UX and studied storytelling and things like that, like I had the privilege of interviewing at the finals for Microsoft or Facebook in content design and doing those technical interviews. But also, I mean, I have many years working as a marketer in this sense. So I am happy to share my experiences with like the different types of interview processes, because it is a very different type of conversation. And I've been in your shoes where I'm like, what the heck should I be doing? And what am I really good at? And really finding out what you're really strong at, what Luke defines as your X factor. I think going through lots of interviews is also really a refining experience. And then getting hired to be your own authentic self. That was my experience. It's like, I was really honest and open and candid in my answers, and that they wanted me anyway, and that was really great. And so, you know, finding those types of organizations where you can be your authentic self and talk about your actual skills and have a fit for the business needs is something that I encourage you to do, certainly in a professional way, and having a portfolio, and this program definitely helps you to do that as well.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from Sumiran. It says, could you talk about UX UI design jobs for fresh graduates having the experience of internships?
Yeah, I mean, so I have UX designers on my team. I would say that so far we haven't either opened up internships for UX designers, and the people that we are hiring are more senior, but I have a very small team of designers on my team. There are much bigger UX teams like within the product organization. So I would encourage you to kind of do some networking, see if you can identify people in those organizations or those different parts of the organization, and like ask them specifically. I don't have a ton of experience there.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. Next question is, are the jobs and internships in Washington mostly for SAP Concur, or does SAP hire for their different entities as well?
I would say that one of the benefits of the pandemic has been to teach us that we can kind of do jobs from anywhere. I know a lot of people, you know, my team, for example, is probably 50% based outside of Bellevue at this point. And so we hired 2 interns this year, and one of them was based in New York City, and the other one was originally based up in Seattle and then went back to school in August or maybe the end of July in Texas. So we hire people who are all over the place, and I know a lot of Bellevue-based people, although Concur is like has a big presence here in Bellevue. A lot of Bellevue-based people find jobs for SAP teams that are based all over the place, kind of all over the country. Yeah.
And I'll answer that also and just say, I was surprised by how many of my colleagues are based all over the world, but I literally, when I just shifted from Concur to SAP, every day I have calls with people all over the world, all different time zones and things like that now. And I mean, my day starts early and sometimes late because of that, but it also was kind of exciting to like work with all the different perspectives of people and work on localization and resonance in different markets and stuff like that. So it's also kind of like what you want to try to do with your career and what impact that you're hoping to make and how your skills align with the role. So,
yep.
That's super cool. It seems like we covered the questions. Oh, yeah. Yes, I think we covered all the questions. If you have more questions, feel free to ask our panelists one-on-one in our breakout room. And thank you again to our guest speakers from SAP. So let's move to the breakout room. I think Valeska is our event coordinator, and she has set up 4 breakout rooms for each of every guest. And the students feel free to join any room and to further engage with our guests from SAP. And Velasca and I could stay in the main room if you need any help with getting to a particular room. Otherwise, enjoy your conversation and thank you for joining us today. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open the rooms.
Hi, Tong. Hi, Catherine.
Hello, I will probably join Luke's breakout room to show some mental support there.
Please do.
Yeah.
And Velasca, if you want to join any room, feel free to do so. I can stay in the main room to help with the left.
Okay. Um,
I can't encourage you. Oh, sorry, I was blathering before you started recording. Sorry about that. So, yeah. So just welcome anyone. Thank you so much for joining this. I'm really happy to share my experience of transitioning from consumer-based marketing to B2B marketing. It is different. This degree is totally worth it. It is what you make of it. Make sure you save all of your assignments as portfolio pieces so that you can put them together and tell some story and have something ready. Because you don't always know, can't always anticipate what type of something somebody's going to ask for. I don't want to talk too much. Yeah, Vivian, go ahead. Question, please.
Hi,
Hi.
I want to know, can you share a little bit about your day-to-day work and the project that you're currently working on and yeah, stuff like that. Thank you.
Happy to. Totally. So it has been a big shift. I shifted over from the Concur team, which is Pacific time based, over to the HXM, SAP HXM or Human Experience team, which is global. So now, I mean, it's like every day we are heavy on the calls, like every day, at least Monday through Thursday, sometimes Monday through Friday. My first call starts at 7 or 6:30 in the morning. And I am in back-to-back calls, mostly until like 2 o'clock. That is most of the time. Emailing the whole time, creating PowerPoints, working with agencies, connecting people, uploading content or documentation of some sort into our internal tools, concepting things, writing and editing, and things like that. It's just kind of all as one in a day. But I would say right now, like what I'm working on, which I love, but it's kind of, it's like a Tetris puzzle, is putting together a plan, a continuity plan for from the transition our content marketing strategy from the end of this year to the next year. And so it's, what channels am I going to be posting? Are we going to be posting our content? What content is going to be posted on those channels? What gaps do we have? Who do we need to get in the room to talk? How is our messaging and positioning framework changing? Is it changing? What products map to our overall narratives? Who else do I need to talk to because they're new in their job or they've newly rearranged on the team? And so, you know, finding satisfaction in the sum of many parts. Like I just talked about your portfolio being the sum of many parts. Like it is really a day in the life. You like get up and like do all the calls and go to, you know, like when you as a student, like go, get up, do some work, like go to class, do some more work, like go talk to your mom, like go take a shower, maybe, like, you know, I mean, and then like document this, like turns out something in. Like your work as a student definitely prepares you for a day-to-day life, you know, in the workplace at SAP for sure. I love that I used to not like the fact that it was remote, but like I would not be a good employee or a good mom or a good wife or a good friend if I didn't work on this global team remotely. I have the option to go in, but like because of the time zone flexibility that's required, working remotely is really, really important to my success. So Alex, yeah.
Hi, Catherine. I got a couple of questions because like I see from your portfolio, like you actually change from you actually have different kind of functions, like you work at a different kind of function along your career journey.
Yes.
And have you like, because marketing is actually a changing environment, and from your perspective, what are some of the greatest strengths that you will encourage us to develop to like be outstanding in the current marketing dynamics?
It's a great question. Writing, being able to write well, being able to edit well, being able to, and when I say edit, be able to identify things, grammatical conventions, but also things like title casing, you know, be able to identify colloquialisms and strategically say when yes and when no to use them. Writing and editing is so important, not only for your customer facing content, but also in your internal communications, in your creation of things. Writing is a big thing. Secondly, and I'm not doing a great job of modeling it, but being succinct and listening well and empathizing with people is so important. I would say it's crazy how many PowerPoints, like people have this like 30 slide PowerPoint sometimes, and I'm like, this only needs to be 5 slides, like to get this message across. So I mean, like learning how to be crisp and clean, because you know that somebody's really not very likely going to read a 30 slide PowerPoint. Like, how can you say that what you want to say in a succinct, clear, elegant way that still keeps everything in there? But like, if you want to, you know, I'm a change, I like to create all this change in the organization, and like, I'm never going to get someone to read 30 slides. Just not, that's more of like a documentation archive somewhere. That writing and brevity and clarity are things that the program does teach you. And I took this great class with Lauren Kessler, if you can, like, just identifying the elements of a story, you know, the beginning, middle, and end, and being able to ask those hard questions of like, what are we trying to accomplish? You know, is it a really important thing? But I mean, and then knowing, being able to tell and discern and learn about this, like what type of channel best is going to showcase that story. It's not like I'm just going to do Instagram posts about this. Like, it's like that you're kind of missing. You're selling yourself really short if you do this. Or I'm just going to do an explainer video on this. It's like, well, how does this fit in with the overall life cycle and what you're trying to make happen? And the Comm program, I think, really gives you a good ability to see the overall picture, as well as be an expert in something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that answers that.
Sorry, I got another question.
Let's hear it.
Catherine, you mentioned about authenticity earlier, And that's what I'm interested in, because we all know that when we are approaching a job and applying for a job, we all have our strength and weakness. And how do you, like, being authentic, how do you still present your weakness, but you're still like presenting yourself as a strong candidate, either as an SAP or when you're doing other job interview?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's advice that people gave me along the way and I didn't take. And then I eventually took it and I was like, oh, I had the privilege of interviewing at Facebook and Microsoft and Amazon and T-Mobile and SAP and like all the big companies. Like, I'm very privileged to have interviewed a lot of different places. And I will say that answering the questions the way I thought people wanted me to answer them didn't get me as far as answering them in the way that was the way I was talking anyway. And it's also just authentic to like the need to use natural language. Like, what's natural? Like, because I think that there's this, in business speak, we use all of this like jargon in general, and we think that's what people want, you know. And I do think it's very important to, as much as you can, educate yourself so you know what they're talking about. Like, what is SaaS? Why is the second S capitalized? Like, it's so weird. Like that kind of thing. It was like, but I mean, like, you don't ever have to say that in an interview. But I just think that being authentic is not an easy thing to do. And so practice. Like I said, I really benefited from the UW career coach. I mean, it's just a career office, just went and made appointments and I was like, hi, I'm back. Like, I'm on campus, like, you know, schedule. It's like, because they'll give you that feedback and be like, well, maybe you should try this or that. And then how do your portfolio examples contextualize your story and be like I can be like, I'm a mom. Here's a part of my life, like of something that about being a mom. This makes me really great at this because of this. Or I was, you know, in, you know, hospitality and tourism. Here's why this skill like helps translate to this other thing. And here's a portfolio piece of how I was able to create this as a student. And here's some actual work that I did in real life in my job. You know, saving that kind of stuff in order to authentically tell your story takes thought, but that's what the program's for, like for you to be thoughtful, to think about and just be totally consumed with yourself. Like, it's okay. Like, this is this time in your life where like, I would be consumed with myself right now and how this will benefit me, like in terms of helping other people to understand me better. Like, it's okay to be self-centered for a bit when you're thinking about your work showcasing you.
I see. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Totally.
And then I want people to be able to talk about their work. So in the interviews that we have together, I want you to be able to talk about your work in that particular way as well. But I don't need to see case studies. I will look at people on LinkedIn. I look people up on LinkedIn before our meeting. If you have a website, I'll look at your website. But those are just kind of things to give me an idea of who you are. It's not, I don't usually base a hiring decision on it.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So, you know, currently a lot of us has sent a lot of has experiences sending out our resume.
Yep.
So what kind of resume with, like, for example, you mentioned about the number, what elements, maybe not about the numbers, what kind of the keywords will stand up for you while you're looking for these papers?
Yeah, the thing it's not like, I'm not looking for necessarily for keywords unless it's somebody who, oftentimes what I see happen is people who are in really technical roles and who have really technical backgrounds will apply for a marketing job. And I look at it and I'm like, you've been a software developer for your entire life. Like, I don't know why you're applying to my marketing job. Sometimes I will have people who transition from one career to another, and kind of like Catherine was saying, where she went from one field to another field. In that case, what I would look for is a really good cover letter that says, I've been working in, I don't know, development for my entire life, but I'm passionate about marketing. And here is how my skills in development will transfer to a job in marketing, right? I'm analytical, I'm ability to make big decisions quickly, whatever it is, right? And to who sort of tell that story. So I'm really looking for something that tells me why this person, right, would be doing a good job in my job. And your resume is a marketing document, right? You're marketing yourself. Your resume is not a historical record of everything you've ever done. It's your ability to say, here are the skills that I have that are relevant for this job. So you should be tailoring it and looking for it. And for me, like I said, numbers, right? I want to see what made you, the person you, and not your classmates or your coworkers, the best fit for that, the impacts that you drove, right? And so for me, numbers are a really good way to do that, because you can show your impact.
Got it. Like cover letters or some of like the brief description, introduction about ourselves is important, right?
I wouldn't necessarily say an introduction. I wouldn't put an introduction on your resume. That's what a cover letter is for.
Okay.
Your cover letter is for why you think you would be a good fit for the job, because it's saying that you're the, here are the skills that you're looking for, and here's how I demonstrate those skills, right? If the job says, for example, you need to be full of energy because you're dealing with the public 10 hours a day, your cover letter can say, I'm used to, walking around 20 hours a day, talking to people, like whatever it is, right? You're demonstrating that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.